How you doing? I am Mr. Marlin. I'm going to do your pre-trip inspection on this truck and trailer of the whole vehicle. All right, now this is the next section of our vehicle. This is the trailer only, and we're going to examine just the trailer. Right here, this is your buck head, or you can say header board. Make sure you have no intrusions inside your header board. Make sure all your rivets are intact. Make sure everything is properly mounted and secured. All right. Here we have our skirt. This is our skirt. We want to make sure our skirt is not damaged. Our skirt is the foundation of our trailer. Make sure it's going down. Make sure it's properly mounted and secured. Here we have our DOT tape. Make sure your DOT tape is clean and clear. Make sure it's properly mounted and secured. Here we have our landing gear. Our landing gear is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. No illegal wales. We're gonna keep on going down on our skirt. These rivets right here represents the cross members on the trailer. Make sure your cross members are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. Make sure all your nuts and bolts are present and tight, all the way down on your trailer. Keep examining. Here you have your left turn signal. You have your left turn signal, your four-way flasher, and your running light. It's also reflector. It's amber in color. It's properly mounted and secured, and it's not cracked, bent, or broken. On the rubber seal, no abrasions, bubble cuts, and dry rot. Check your wires. Make sure on your wires you don't have any frays, tears, or any illegal tape on your wires. Now we're going to come up under the vehicle. This right here, this is your retaining spring. Your retaining spring is holding your airlines 18 inches from the ground. No abrasions, bubble cuts, and dry rot on your airlines. Your airlines are going into your air tank right here. Make sure your air tank is properly mounted and secured. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. No illegal wales on your air tank. All right. Now, this right here, this is your sliding rail. You have your sliding rail right here with your locking pin. This is your release lever right here. Make sure everything is properly mounted and secured. Nothing is cracked or broken. Make sure all your nuts and bolts are present and tight. Right here, you have your control arm. All right, you have your control arm locked in with U-bolts. It's locked into the tandem axle. Make sure all your U-bolts are properly mounted and secured, not cracked or broken. All your nuts and bolts are present and tight. Here you have your torque arm, and you have your adjustable torque arm on this side. Make sure it's properly mounted and secured. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. Nothing is cracked, bent, or broken. You also have a torque arm under here. Make sure it's also properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. Here you have your dual brake chamber. This is your dual brake chamber. Check all hoses coming to and from for any abrasions, bubble cuts, and dry rot. Make sure all nuts and bolts are present and tight. You have a push rod and slack adjuster. Here, right here, this is your slack adjuster. This is your push rod, and it's locked in with the clevis pin and the Carter key. No more than 1 inch of play with the brakes release. Make sure all your nuts and bolts are present and tight. Nothing is cracked with the broken, properly mounted and secured. Okay, here you have your brakes. This is your brake drums, and these are brake pads or brake shoes. Make sure nothing is cracked with the broken, properly mounted, secured. All nuts and bolts are present and tight with no illegal wales. Make sure it's free and clean and clear of any debris on your brake drum. On your brake pads, no less than 1/4 inch of thickness left. All right. Now you want to go to the inside of your rim. Inside of your rim on your tandem tires. Make sure the inside of your rim as well as the outside of your rim don't have any illegal wales. Make sure it's not cracked, bent, or broken, properly mounted and secured. Make sure still on your inside of your bud spacing on your rims, zero spacing, zero gap. In between your tandem tires, no less than 3 inches. Anything less than that indicates a flat tire or low tire pressure. Check the inside and the outside of both tires. Make sure it's evenly worn across the top. Make sure it has no abrasions, bubble cuts, and dry rot. No less than 2/32 of tire depth in each tire. It needs to be at least 100 PSI or the factory specs or your company specifications. All right. Now that we completed the undercarriage on the inside of the trailer, now we're going to come outside to the outside of the tire. We want to make sure our tire is properly seated and beaded to the rim, properly mounted and secured. Check our lug nuts. Make sure all our lug nuts are present and tight, properly mounted and secured. No signs of shiny metal or rust that indicate looseness. We're going to check our hub seal. Make sure our hub seal is not leaking. Make sure there's no abrasions, bubble cuts, or dry rot on the hub seal itself. We're going to check our valve stem on both rims. Make sure our valve stem is not cracked, bent, or broken, properly mounted, secured, and not leaking. Here, when we come up here, we have our air brake. We have our airbags. This is our airbag. It's properly mounted, secured. No abrasions, bubble cuts, and dry rot on the airbag itself. All nuts and bolts are present and tight, properly mounted and secured. We also have a shock up under here. We want to make sure our shock is properly mounted, secured, not leaking. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. Now we're going to check our number 5 axle, or you can say the tag-along axle from the front tandem. We will check out number 5 axle as we just shown you on the number 4 axle, and that are completed. It's the sister or the brother, how you want to look at it, of the front tire. Here we have our mud flap hanger. Our mud flap hanger is properly mounted and secured. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. Nothing is cracked, bent, or broken. Our mud flap don't have any holes or no abrasions, bubble cuts, or dry rots in it. No less than 2 to 8 inches from the ground as well. We're gonna come back here to our marker light. This right here is your marker light for your tail end of the trailer. It needs to be red in color, not cracked but broken, properly mounted and secured. Now we're gonna come to the top of our trailer. We want to make sure all our DOT reflective tape is properly mounted and secured. Make sure it's clean and clear. Make sure you have 100% DOT tape on the back of the trailer and 100% DOT tape on the back of the ICC bumper itself. Make sure it's clean and clear, free of debris, properly mounted and secured. Now we're going to check our hinges on the trailer. Check our hinges all the way up. Check the top locking mechanism and the bottom locking latch. And check your handle. Make sure it's properly mounted and secured. Check your nuts and bolts, make sure they're present and tight. Make sure nothing is cracked, bent, or broken. Here we're going to check our left side and our right side tail lights. They red in color. On the inside is your brake light and your running light. On the outside is your turn signal, your 4-way flasher, and your running light. Make sure it's properly mounted, secured, nothing is cracked, bent, or broken. Make sure the rubber don't have any abrasions, bubble cuts, or dry rot. Come up under here, we want to check our clearance lights. 3 of them, they're properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, but they're broken. They're red in color. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. This right here is our tag light. It's clear in color. It's properly mounted and secured, not cracked, but they're broken, with all nuts and bolts present and tight. Check your trailer license plate. Make sure it's clean and clear, free of debris. For DOT purposes, make sure your nuts and bolts are present and tight. On your ICC bumper, make sure your ICC bumper, all nuts and bolts are present and tight. It's not cracked, but they're broken, properly mounted and secured. And that will complete this section of your inspection.